All right, so we were on page 18 of our notebook. I'm just going to write everything on here. And we were using information to build equations. And we had done example 1, and now I'm going to go through another example. So we have given a slope of, this time we're going to have a slope of 4 through the point, and the given point will be 2, -3. And so when you're given all this crazy information, you start with point slope form because you have a point and a slope. So we have y minus empty box equals underline parentheses x minus empty box. Again, I think that template really helps. You find your equal sign, that's point slope form. From there, we're going to fill in the given information. We have our slope, 4. We have x1 and y1. So we're going to put x1 in the box with x, and we're going to put y1, which is -3, in the box with y. So then we'll kind of clean this up a little bit. Y minus -3 is really y plus 3 equals 4 times x minus 2. From here we distribute. We get y plus 3 equals 4x minus 8. So again, we have to evaluate what we're trying to do. We're trying to get this into point slope form. We're trying to make it look like this, which means we need to get y by itself. So we move the 3 till we have y equals 4x minus 11. So -8 minus 3 is minus 11, and that is your answer in the right form. I want to do one more with the fraction because I know we don't like fractions. So example 3, one more of these with the fraction. So it's given a slope of 3/2 through the point 6, -5. So again, I'm going to set up my template. Y minus box equals blank times x minus box. It's a little intense, but it's kind of just your template. You put your slope of 3/2 in the blank. We'll deal with that in just a minute. Then we have x1, y1. So we put 6 in the box with x, -5 in the box with y. Then our next step is to clean that up. So we have y plus 5 equals 3/2 times x minus 6. From here, you can work through it with fractions, but from here, we want to, I think it's easier to eliminate the fraction. And we do that by multiplying by the denominator. We did something similar last week. So, finding that equal sign, what we're going to do from here, watch carefully, we're going to take everything on each side. We're going to multiply the left side by 2 and the right side by 2. When we multiply the left side by 2, that 2 gets distributed. 2y plus 10. The right-hand side does not change very much. The 2 that we multiply by, all it does is cancel the 2 on the denominator. Nothing else changes. So we have 3, and we still have x minus 6. So all it does is eliminate the fraction. So you multiply by the denominator. On the opposite side, you actually change stuff. On the same side, all it does is cancel. So just be careful there. Now, our job's a little easier. We will go ahead and distribute that 3 just like before. 2y plus 10 equals 3x minus 18. We will move the constant, minus 10, minus 10. This time we have 2y equals 3x minus 28. Remember, we're trying to get it into y equals form. We're trying to get y equals mx plus b. We're almost there. We have 2y equals 3x minus 28. So like we did last week, we're going to divide everybody by 2. And this is going to give us y equals, 3 does not divide by 2, so it's just 3 over 2x, which should make sense because that's my slope. Negative 28 divided by 2 is negative 14. So that is my answer. Y equals 3 over 2x minus 14. We'll work with a couple more with fractions just to help you out there. Alright, so when you're given the point and the slope, you use point slope form and you plug in all your values, work through it carefully, watch your negatives, and we end up with y equals mx plus b. A couple more examples of that. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to write an equation in standard form. So our final answer needs to be in standard form, given 2 points. Given 2 points. So our first step for these is to find the slope. And we learned how to do that today. And then our second step is to pick one of the 2 points. So you're going to pick one. You're going to be given 2 sets of points. You pick which one you like. With the point you've chosen and the slope you calculated, you use point slope form. So this last step will be just like the previous. So let's do a couple examples of that. Example 1, you're given the points 3, 2, and 5, 6. So my points are 3, 2, and 5, 6. First thing we want to do is find the slope. I like to label x1, y1, x2, y2, just to help me focus. Remember, slope, we do box minus box over box minus box, and fill in our boxes. y2 is 6, y1 is 2, x2 is 5, x1 is 3. 6 minus 2 is 4, 5 minus 3 is 2, 4 divided by 2 simplifies to 2. So that is my m. My slope is 2. And then step 2, you pick a point. Pick a point. Totally up to you. Some students go with the smaller numbers. Some students pick the numbers that are positive. Some students pick the numbers if they have a 0. It really doesn't matter. In here, these are both positive sets of coordinates. They're about the same. I'm just going to pick one of them. Pick one of the 2 points. I'm going to pick the point 3, 2. So I'm going to use the slope and my point to use point slope form. So I decided to pick the point 3, 2. With that point and the slope I calculated, step 3 is point slope form. So y minus box equals m times x minus box. And I fill in what I have. I figured out my slope is 2, so that 2 came from there. I figured out, or I picked this point, totally random, 2 for y, 3 for x. And then I solved this just like I did previously. So I'm going to distribute y minus 2 equals 2x minus 6. Nice and simple, just add 2, y equals 2x. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. And there's my answer. Oops, but it's not in the right form. So that is in slope-intercept form. Always check, I always forget to check. We want our answer, it says, in standard form. So even though we're right, and even though we're done, we have to rearrange like we did the first day of this unit. Rearrange. So I have y equals 2x minus 4. The first thing I'm going to do to change it to standard form is to move the 2x to the other side. So I have negative 2x plus y equals negative 4. And I'm only having to do this because I want it in standard form, otherwise I'd be done. Remember we talked about the leading coefficient cannot be negative. So I'm going to multiply everybody by negative 1 to change that. Everybody's going to change. 2x minus y equals positive 4. So this is the exact same equation, but now it is in standard form. So this one takes just one extra step. The only extra step here is to find that slope, which we should be pretty good at. Once we find the slope, you get to totally pick which point you want, and then you work it out just like before using point-slope form. And then instead of stopping in slope-intercept form, we have to rearrange it into standard form. So overall, it seems like a long process. Just take it one baby step at a time. Walk yourself through it. All right, I want to do one more. Same idea, given 2 points. And I'll try to do one with the fraction. Let's see. Given 2 points, so this is example 2. Did I call the other one example 1? Yes, example 2. So given 2, 3, and negative 1, positive 1. That's all they give us. We want our final answer to be in standard form, which is no big deal. We'll work it out, and then we'll just make sure we rearrange it into standard form when we're done. So, step 1, find the slope. It helps to label x1, y1, x2, y2. So it's 1 minus 3. Is that right? 1 minus 3 over negative 1 minus 2. So if it helps to put the boxes, there we go. The boxes just help me double check that I put the correct numbers in. You don't want to change anything, you just want to put the numbers in. 1, 3, negative 1, 2. Then you work it out. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Negative 2 divided by negative 3, the negatives cancel, but the 2 and the 3 don't divide. So this time I have a fraction for my slope, and I wanted to show you how to work it out when you have a fraction for your slope. Kind of slows you down just a bit. So now we're going to pick a point. It's your choice. I personally like to choose positive numbers. That's just my preference, so I'm going to pick the point 2, 3. Then I'm going to use point slope form. So step 3, y minus box equals 2/3 times x minus box. Sorry, I skipped a step. The 2/3 is my slope. I just plugged it right in. The point I chose was 2, 3. x1, y1. The 2 goes with x, the 3 goes with y. I'm going to kind of rewrite that, see what I'm looking at. So far I have y minus 3 equals 2/3 times x minus 2. I don't like that fraction. I don't want to deal with that fraction. So what I'm going to do is again multiply by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. I chose 3 because 3 is that denominator. The left-hand side actually changes. The right-hand side's not going to look very different. So I have 3y minus 9 equals, all this is going to do is cancel that denominator. Everything else stays the same, so I still have 2 times x minus 2. I just think that looks better with no more fractions. Then you can distribute the 2. 3y minus 9 equals 2x minus 4. Now I'm going to pause here. We need our answer in standard form. So we need ax plus by equals c. So I'm still going to move my constant to the right by adding 9. I'm left with 3y equals 2x. Negative 4 plus 9 is positive 5. Here's where it's going to be a little different. Because I need my answer in standard form, instead of dividing everybody by 3, so I've added 9 to both sides, my constants are together. Instead of dividing everybody by 3, if I divided everybody by 3, that would be slope-intercept form. The directions say standard form. I know it needs to look like this. I know my x and my y need to be together, and my constant needs to be by itself. So I'm going to move the 2x over here instead. Negative 2x plus 3y equals 5. Just about there. Very last step. Remember that leading coefficient cannot be negative in standard form. So multiply everybody by negative 1. And my final answer is positive 2x minus 3y equals negative 5. And that's what it looks like in standard form. So you have to read the directions and make sure, do I need slope-intercept or do I need standard form? It will tell you in the directions how it wants your answer. If you need anything else, just email me, and I'll check my email until about 9 o'clock tonight.